Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Tyranny. Last episode, we lucked out in that we managed to get Ash to bend the knee to us. Then after that, we freed Barrack from, well, his protection so that we could get him out of that armor. He can now wear his own armor, and we gotta get him some. And we're going to do just that right before we deal with things in the Mountain Spire. First things first, let's go to our armory. Pretty sure we can get some good stuff there. Oh, along the route towards your destination, the road crosses a small river at a tall, arched bridge. Turquoise water cascades down a three-tiered fall, driving a musty smell of algae into the air where it mingles with lilac and sage. I'd almost forgotten what good smells like, Verse mutters, eyeing Barrack. She sidles closer to you. Hey, Binder, you know what would be a real service to the Overlord? Getting Rustbucket over there to take a fucking bath already. She pinches the bridge of her nose. It's been literal years since his last. The cool, crisp scent contrasts sharply with the sour stench of filth emanating from your disfavored companion. You're not sure when Barrack last bathed, but you doubt that it was at all recent. Subtly suggests that Barrack bathe. You call a brief respite at the water's edge and make your way to Barrack as he fills his water skins. Drawing on your years of experience in court, you craft in artful phrases a gentle reminder that the disfavored take the maintenance of their kit extremely seriously, and that the most important piece of disfavored equipment is their own body. The stone shield initially expresses confusion as to your meaning, but then his face flushes as he stammers an apology. Forgive me, Fatebinder. I'd spent so much... I was encased and locked away... gotten used to... I shall rectify the issue immediately. He takes off in search of an isolated curve of current, and when he returns, it's without the heady stench that has accompanied him for months. Hey, we're all joyful, and he's recovered. Refreshed, I mean. And he's actually got a haircut and a shave. Okay, now he looks good. Well, comparatively. Now let's get him something good to wear. Completed forging an item for me, yes. Hierarch's robes. Aspect of nightmares. Draw forth the form of a horrifying mask of energy. All enemies within the cone become terrified. Duration of the terrified affliction scales with the Hierarch's robes or noun. Okay. It's regular light armor, but it's something. Wow! That is an appearance! Huh. Okay, then. Hugh, are these Hierarch's robes? These Hierarch's robes are not even better than what you're currently using, which I'm not too surprised. The Ancient Archon robes give a bonus to all magic skills as well. Not as much, though. Hold the phone here. Yeah. Now it is exactly the same. Difference is it's sorcery instead of omnipotent.
Oops, I broke it. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, I'd rather you didn't. Okay. And let's see, we need to get you some armor. Show me what you have for sale. Alright, you need some... bronze crested helm. You do need a better helm. I have sold so much stuff here. Oh no, that's all. That's right. Okay, that's why it's darkened. Let's see. Spiked iron helm. We'll give you a heavy bronze crested helm. I think that'll probably work. What the hell is Nightfall Cask? All armor increased by 20% at night, and armor penetrated by attacks. You know what? We'll give you this. And, yeah, are there any better boots? Heavy bronze boots. Compared to the Graceful, which is finesse when inflicting crits. I guess you can keep the boots. Oh, you're wearing it. I mean, holding it. Alright. And now we can upgrade this. There, that works. And we should upgrade these as well. And I think we can give an upgrade to the barbed halberdon. Is that what we're wearing? And you can get the slugfist gauntlets upgraded. There we go. Now you're all nice and upgraded. Little bit of a mix, but still. I do admit though your previous appearance did look very impressive. But yeah, we do need these improvements. Ah, we can't upgrade these. I used up all my iron. Well, that's unfortunate. I mean, I guess I can upgrade the shield. Sure. Pity I can't upgrade the armor anymore, but oh well. We've got Barrack fitted out. Everything is good there. Oh, you could have used the Bane Touch gauntlets. They're also heavy. I didn't realize. But they're bronze. And Control Gravelight doesn't actually matter to you. This is actually better because, well, the weapon crit thing. Okay. Edict's Crescent can go back in here. Ash's Favor. I don't plan on getting wounds. Okay. Now a quick trip to see what item we got at Sunset Spire. And then we'll go back to the main spire. Status of your research. What have we got? Azure Bell. This recipe will allow you to make Azure Bell with access to a spire, infirmary upgrade, and proper materials. Ah, I don't really care about that. I guess research a drug recipe. Just to get it researched. That's for, yeah, Hierarch's robes. Right. Now let's head back to the mountain spire. Things are going to happen shortly. Issue an edict upon the Northern Kingdom. First things first, Barrack, we need to speak. The former stone shield stares mutely at his heavy hands. Hair shorn and face shaven and clean, you can make out the tracery of scars that crisscross his skin.
Fate but... Archon?
He crosses his arms over his chest and frowns slightly, the gesture apparently unfamiliar in the absence of his carapace. Feeling any better?
Yes. The pain has faded significantly. The memory of it, however. I suspect that shall remain with me until I draw my last breath. General Ash pledged the disfavored to you. He gave me to your service, and now I masquerade as his equal. That will never be the case, of course. Even pledged to you, Graven Ash is an Archon. But beyond that, he is an ideal to strive towards. I will not honey these words, Archon. Your methods leave a great deal of room for improvement. You have lied, stolen, and cheated your way across the tiers, all in pursuit of a goal I did not think I wanted. And yet, I find little to complain of in our current circumstances. Do these ends justify your means? I cannot say. I would have thought, though, that I would feel different.
Lighter?
Exactly! You meant the armor. Perhaps you will find this ridiculous or ungrateful, but I had accustomed myself to my armor. It became a part of me, and not merely physically. Now I will again have to adjust.
Do you feel as if you're no longer special?
Special? No, of course not. At least, I do not think so.
Well, I'm glad to have you here, Barrack.
And I am glad to be here. Shall we continue, Archon?
Indeed, we shall. Before I do, oh, these are going in here because they're loot that I don't need. Alright, all we have is armies of the north. I'd rather do this peacefully, but such is how it is. Before I do, though, first things first.
Alpha, to kills in shadow smells good.
Yeah.
Human shadow me. Beast woman, fate binder wants.
Yeah, I
beast
skipped
woman?
through a bunch of things, I know. I just want to trade out a few
seen
things
over
for
to
a
you,
moment.
Michael.
fast at once.
Right, level ups. I may as well. I probably should. You get a level up there, and skill-wise you get... Which I don't think there's really going to be much more happening. Return to the source. Sure. Next, we have you. Let's give you a point in that, just so you have it. And you're going to get... Bestial Constitution, I suppose. And finally, you are going to get more accuracy. And you're going to get... Sustained breath, I suppose. As for armor, you can now wear the Ancient Archon robes. And you, I guess, can wear the Merchant Tunic, even though it looks different. Everything else is leather or bronze, which doesn't really matter. I don't believe there's any gear I want to hand over, so we're fine. Is there anything you guys have to say?
I trust all is well, my glorious Archon. I'm honored you wish to speak. What is it you need?
Nope, I don't believe they have anything to say.
Fatebinder, what do you need?
Okay. So we have them dealt with. Let's get our other companions back in party.
At your service, Fate. What do you need? And I seem to be...
I'll tack
I
home.
will meet
See
you
you
at the
there.
spire.
For a short while.
And there we go.
See you there.
Okay. Now we deal with the Edict. The waves of energy radiating from the spire draw you forward, pressing your body and mind to its eager embrace. At the center of this tide, the resonator stands ready to broadcast your voice, echoing your commandments to the farthest reaches of the tiers and beyond. From here, the highest point in all the peninsula, you could, with the sum total of your effort, project your will far north, past the edge of the tiers, and proclaim your edict as far as the lands of the Northern Empire. Any requests?
How could you ask such a thing? I can't possibly make such a far-reaching decision. I'm sorry you have more options than you have convictions.
Lantry swats his quill at you as he switches to a sepia ink. Can you turn everyone inside out? Or make them piss rings? Damn it, I can't decide. You figure it out. I'll just be in the way. Barrack studies you for a long pause. The Edict of Storms helped to craft the man I am today, for better or worse. This might be exactly what the Overlord's hierarchy needs, a little mischief to toughen them up. Barrack, I'm impressed. Where did this rebellious streak come from? Let us say I have shared this campaign with some inspiring people of late. You big dumb softy, get out of here. I mean it, leap off the fucking edge before you bring a tear to my eye. Relax for a moment, ponder the situation. With your work here in the tiers all but complete, you take a deep breath of the cool, tranquil spire air and allow yourself a moment to think. By the letter of Kairos' orders, you have done all that is asked. You delivered the Edict of Execution and brought the Archons to heal as ordered. While you have the victory of the moment to savor, you find yourself wanting for answers. Only the Archons have met Kyros, And while you are now counted among these luminaries, the battlefield promotion was hardly the revealing initiation rite you long imagined all Archons experience. Looking back on the events of the war, it seems implausible that this moment has caught Kairos entirely by surprise. Half a league beneath your feet sits Ascension Hall. Had the Edict of Execution not been stopped, the resulting deaths would have done the work of the Civil War and the culling call of the Archons. And had it not been you to resolve the Edict of Execution, who else? Would that person be standing where you now stand? You've made no secret of your loyalty to Kyros, and you smile at the realization that, if the Overlord is indeed prescient, this victory was enabled by the will of Kyros. The question now lingers in your mind. Have you been placed in this position because Kyros expects you to be loyal, or because Kyros expects you to be contrary? And are those mutually exclusive? It can be no accident that the resolution of the Edict of Execution ordered someone to liberate the base of the Spire, and it can be no coincidence that the culling of the Archons in Civil War have brought about much of the carnage Kyros initially sought to inflict with that fateful edict. I am the last Archon standing in the tiers. It's time to send word to Kyros. The conquest is complete.
Yes! Let the record keepers praise this day as the ultimate victory of the Overlord! Let children sing of the heroic deeds of the disfavored legion! Let soft courtiers envy those of us who braved the foreign...
But, Fatebinder, Archon, do not your hands feel sullied still? We've turned our blades against our own. Our choices plunged the conquest into madness. What possible hope can we have that the Overlord will forgive us our transgressions? He peers at his palms. I've been a Fatebinder long enough to know Kyros cares more about end results than principles. We have stayed more true to Kyros than you realize.
I appreciate that, Archon. I suppose our heads shall roll together, or not at all, as Kyros wills. If you know the Overlord's mind as well as you claim, our loyal service shall certainly see reward.
Oh, this certainly won't end in our executions. Kyros would never demand his Archons fight one another to the doom of all.
Considering Kairos' most recent order, I think the Overlord and the Voices of Nerat had something in common. They both seem willing to forgive most any behavior if it's backed with demonstrable strength and plausible loyalty.
I won't question your final judgment. I swore you an oath after all. Just remember that even if Kyros decides you chose our every action by her orders, she may still condemn you for the outcome. Her philosophy holds as much in common with Tunon's as Nerat's.
The letter of Kairos' order has been fulfilled, as a single Archon now rules triumphantly over the unified tiers. In the name of Kairos, I, Jason Pendragon, claim the tiers for the glory of the Overlord. Magnified by the power of the Resonator, your victorious words thunder across the valley and out to the world beyond. Seconds later, you hear the reverberations of your voice echoing off the mountains. Louder than any stroke of thunder or earthquake, your declaration of triumph rings out across Tyranny. A moment passes, and far to the north and east, bolts of copper-hued lightning roil between the clouds, a spectacle last seen a century ago when the Northern Kingdom fell to Kyros and became the Northern Empire. The conquest of the Tiers, and all of Tyranny, is at long last complete.
The Tiers have been conquered, unified at last under a single banner. Word of your victory reaches the ear of Kairos, as does your declaration of fealty and obedience to the Overlord. In answer to your surrender, Kairos' armies halt their advance on the Tiers and withdraw to their garrisons. You have brought order to the Tiers, uniting the realms with the disfavored Legion, enforcing your will. The whole of Tyranny now finally rests in Kairos' grasp. The conquest is, at long last, complete.
Days after the declaration of your victory, the mountain spire becomes a bustling hub of incoming peace delegations and missive birds, as your newly conquered vassals compete for your favor with obsequious displays of fealty and flattery. In the flood of missives comes a single wordless message bearing the seal of Kyros. It depicts a map of Tyranny with all the districts of the known world carved up, each assigned the symbol of an Archon. Your symbol is illustrated atop the peninsula of the Tears. Actions speak louder than words, and on the day you receive the map from Kyros, your scouts report that the armies marching upon the Tears have reversed course and disbanded. You fulfilled Kairos' decree, and all the Tears is now ruled by a single Archon. Your former rivals have either submitted to you or perished, bringing the civil war to a close. The Scarlet Chorus may have been mighty in numbers, but that didn't stop you from thoroughly scattering them, cutting off the serpent's head and sending each of the gangs howling back to the chaos they sowed. How the remnants of the Horde occupy themselves without a war to fight becomes a topic for nightmares. It was thought the disfavored would never rally under another general, but by enlisting Graven Ash to your cause, you managed the next best thing, controlling the Archon to harness the strength of the Northern Empire. You reorganized their old-fashioned regiments with a new chain of command, placing yourself at its highest authority. The Legion's victories spread beyond count, and your soldiers train hard, preparing for the retaliation to come. Under your guidance, those who resisted the Conquest and sowed discontent are vanquished, the rebellion brought to a decisive end. Any lingering question of who is true ruler of the Tears is answered by your impact on the reconstructed nation. Uniting the Tears under the banner of the disfavored was never your directive, and yet you performed it admirably, consolidating the Overlord's forces under your rule, and grooming the Tears for their place in a new order. The same people who once hurled curses across a siege soon learned to think of themselves as part of a greater whole extending beyond their modest borders. With the Edict of Stone dispelled, the earth around the Stone Sea finally settles, leading everyone to believe the realm of Azure will return to its former glory. But the ritual used to end the edict blighted the land to such a degree that nothing will grow, no matter how hard anyone tries. With determination, some are able to start small seedlings, but nothing ever comes of it. The memory of Cairn as a great force of destruction remains as a monument of inert rock. Most agree that the world is better off without the Archon of Stone, as the people of Azure begin to slowly reclaim the land that was once torn asunder by his power. As the strongest and oldest of their kind, the death of the Stone Stalkers is a blow to Beastman culture. Their demise also brings centuries of oral traditions to an abrupt end. The local tribes never recover from the terrible loss. With Cairn's essence preserved and the lands of Azure permanently blighted, the Earthshakers return to the disfavored. While their reputations isn't what it used to be, their success in dealing such a decisive blow to the Scarlet Chorus by removing the main source of food has earned back the respect of the Legion. The Earthshakers are accepted back into the ranks of the disfavored, once again becoming part of the army that helped subdue the Tears. With the Unbroken all but destroyed, the former citizens of Stalwart threatened to slide into lawlessness. Kairos' forces stationed at Sentinel Stand managed to quell the worst of the uprisings, but peace under the nation's new leadership resisted at every turn. Amelia returns to Graven Ash's fort at Iron Hearth with her baby, the former heir of Stalwart. Her presence brings unease to the disfavored, who don't know what to make of a circumstantial traitor. How she navigates the future you imposed on Tyranny will be her decision. Though it takes time to recover from the devastation of the Edict of Storms, the Blade Grave begins its slow march toward healing. The realm of Stalwart may never resemble its former glory, but the land is not so blasted that something new and better can't be built atop the bones of the past. The Regent bloodline has ended. With it, new traditions and legacies spring to life. Your travels never took you to the Burning Library, and this leaves the Edict of Fire undisturbed, consigning the Vellum Citadel to a future engulfed by perpetual flame. With their arcane knowledge beyond reach, the School of Ink and Quill falls into steep decline, your name becoming a curse in their embittered ranks. By leaving Lethian's Crossing under disfavored command, you ensured the city's cooperation and productivity during the remainder of the Conquest. The crafting of superior weapons comes to be the touchstone by which Lethian's Crossing is remembered. After the war, people speak of it as the Forge Days, when the city was a lump of unformed metal waiting to be shaped. By returning the Mage Bane helm to Lethian's Crossing, you ensured the Bane would not be able to get into the city. For the time being, the threat of a Bane incursion is dispelled. The settlers are grateful to go about their lives unburdened by this peril, though knowing how close they came to annihilation haunts them. They hope that the security you provided endures. With the disfavored left in control of Lethian's Crossing, the production of iron remains where it belongs, safe in northern hands. The Chorus and the Tearsmen alike fight with inferior bronze, and over time the disadvantage grows to a crippling vulnerability. Reef Talon's attempts to play doting mother to the wound community prove ineffectual. She tries to establish a sense of discipline and hard work, but her self-doubt sabotages her methods. She never overcomes the suspicions of the rest of the wound. As wound denizens abandon their patrols or listlessly perform chores, life in the settlement deteriorates, Bane attacks become more common, and people begin to leave. Jaspos and Wagstaff finally find common cause, critiquing Reef Talon's leadership. Far from uniting them, however, it only further polarizes the settlement, each of the mages moving once again to solidify a base of power from which to claim authority. By enacting an edict on Vendrian's Well, you announced your power to the world. Mercifully for the inhabitants of Vendrian's Well, the edict on the well does not linger for long, but the event is forever remembered as the first display of true power from Kyros' newest Archon. Graven Ash continues to lead the disfavored, this time bowing to your superior command. At first the old general balks at your instructions, but in time he grows to trust your judgment without question. Working together, you bring much-needed order to the lawless tiers. Killing the voices of Narat spreads the joy of bloody vengeance across the continent. Celebrated as the death of history's greatest parasite, the occasion is marked by all who suffered under the oppression of the Scarlet Chorus. Even in victory, one thought nags you. Though you witnessed his death, you can't help but wonder if the voices of Narat has done with you. Tunon the Adjudicator continues to dispense justice from his seat in the Bastard City. He follows the laws you craft to the letter, advising on any of the meticulous changes you lack the time or the patience to draft. Without his aid, the task of keeping order in the tiers would be nigh impossible. The death of Bledin Mark deprived the world of a most capable murderer. One less bedtime story to scare children is no significant loss, though you can't help but glance at the dark corners of every room and feel as if something is watching you. Bledin Mark will always cast a long shadow on your life. Though freed from his twisted shell of bronze and iron, Barrack seems a little less morose. He moves forward from the Edict of Storms only haltingly, attention half turned ahead towards an uncertain future, and half behind at the choices that brought him here. The Northerner remains dedicated to the oaths he has sworn you, drilling your forces and commanding them on the field. If he isn't exactly loved by your troops, he at least holds their respect. In the rare times of calm, he takes leaves of absence from your service, scouring the blade grave for the fallen sons and daughters of the Northern Empire and laying them to proper rest. Though the somber task seems one beyond the meager lifespan allotted a soldier, Barrack returns from each of these excursions standing just a bit more upright. In the absence of the voices of Narat and the need to avenge her fallen sisters, Verse discovers something akin to contentment. For a time, you find her high atop your spire, face turned towards the horizon with eyes closed against the wind that ruffles the feathers in her hair. It doesn't last. Verse disappears from your service without a farewell. When she returns months later, she is trailed by a disparate gang of young women recruited from every corner of the tiers. Farmers, merchants, and former nobles hungry for greatness, all pledged to study the bloody lessons Verse has to impart. Her new callous sisterhood grows slowly compared to the chorus, but each member makes of violence a mesmerizing dance. Soon, Verse and her cadre become the most feared of your enforcers, achieving a notoriety almost akin to that of Bledin Marks. As surely as you liberated Lantry from the depravities of the Scarlet Chorus, you unshackled him from the weight of history. No longer fixated on the preservation of the work of the sages, the scribe instead sets himself to recording the present with renewed vigor, becoming your most persistent biographer, even if some describe his work as more propaganda than history. Lantry increasingly turns to scavenging lesser pages of the Chronicle for writing material, making of the sages' histories palimpsests of your rising glory, and your inevitable confrontation with the Overlord. If Lantry's scrutiny sometimes discomforts you, his predictions for the future, deduced with let the experienced eye of a student of history rob you of more than one night's sleep. Ebb remains in your company, where she seeks out promising recruits among your supporters. After recognizing some obvious talent, she takes on a team of apprentices in a new school of would-be tidecasters. Though she often jokes that the school is bound to fail with her at the helm, her students think otherwise, as do the many dozens of hopefuls who come begging for her tutelage. Kills in Shadow shows little interest in cleaning up the tiers after your victory. Instead, she takes it upon herself to hunt down every disfavored soldier that will not submit to your rule. Word gets back to you of maulings and disappearances among Kairos' ranks, perpetuated by a beast of legendary ferocity. Though you could track down your wayward companion, you let her continue the work her own way. Bloody, yet effective. Siren grows quiet over time, speaking little and foregoing her songs as she distances herself from your military. One day, she simply walks out of camp and makes for the wilderness of the Tears. Rumors reach your ear that Siren has occupied an abandoned mountainside temple, her vow of silence drawing a small group of respectful followers. You leave her in peace. With your loyalty to Kyros declared to all, the Overlord's conquest of Tyranny is complete, and the people of the Tears finally see an end to years of bloodshed. From your perch atop the ancient spire, you survey the lands you now rule by Kairos' decree. Your followers are all too eager to boast of your power of the edict, and they whisper that a reckoning will someday come. For the time being, the Overlord seems content to let you rule the Tears for the glory of Kairos. And that is the end of Tyranny. What do I think of this game? I actually really enjoyed it a lot. It's got a lot of interesting things about it. I liked things like the fact I was effectively putting justice out, dispensing justice. That's the words I was looking for. I liked the little moments where I found two people arguing and I came in and actually, instead of being the nosy adventurer who comes in and decides, yeah, I'm going to solve your problems, instead, I am the adjudicator. I am the one who comes here, I hears this going on, and I'm the one who will solve the problem. Not necessarily because I can, but because that's my job. And I did what I could to do things both right and by the law. And that was enjoyable. I liked the world that was made, with all the things that were going around, all the different locations. They were interesting. The way the different edicts worked, and how I had to figure out ways to solve them, that was great. And the characters were also good. Lantry was a delight to speak with. Barrack was definitely interesting in his own way, with a very nice design. The others weren't quite as notable. Verse, yeah, she was kind of interesting, but she was what she was. And the other three, they didn't really seem to have side quests, or if they did, I never found them. Chris Avalon, wasn't he from BioWare? Oh god, that explains why I loved it so much! Okay, that explains a bit. There were a few things I didn't care for quite as much. The fact I couldn't go back to deal with the Edict of Fire, that bothered me a bit. I mean, I had the choice way back when, deal with the Edict of Fire or go over to, wherever that area was with the Spire. And I wanted a second Spire, so I figured, I can get the Spire and then go back and deal with the Edict of Fire. Not an option, shockingly. And depressingly. Had I known that, I would have gone and dealt with the Edict of Fire first. Aside from that, I also kind of felt like the whole missives thing was a bit underutilized. I expected I'd be getting letters throughout, that messages would be sent to me from different people about different things all the time, but no, it only happened at a few moments, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish there was more. Was there anything else? I was kind of saddened that I couldn't get the alliance of all 4 Archons, but that's probably just because of choices and the like. The way I was towards the end, I probably could have gotten Blood and Mark on my side if I had chosen different choices, but it's also possible I might have just had to kill him no matter what. And the voices? If there was some way to tread that line that I could get sort of the alliance with both of them, the chorus and the disfavored, I would have, but I think I lost that chance long ago. So, unfortunately, I couldn't do that. And I wish I could have done more speaking with the voices, because he would have been so fun to voice, I have to say. So yeah, the voices of Narat, I wish I had done more to speak with him. That would have been so great. Hello there, person watching. But, yeah, what can I say? The voice like this, I think it would have been a delight to do all the time. Plus, I could do a bit of a variety to the way he spoke. A lot more than the varied, gruff, and very disciplined way that Ash and his allies spoke. Oh, of course, it would have been so fun to voice! Oh, but the way this character was, it just fits so much more with the disfavored. So, for the sake of the character, that's what I stuck with. Overall, this is a good game, and it does. What was I going to say? I literally forgot what I was about to say. This is a good game, and replayability. It does lend to replayability. Ally yourself with the disfavored. Ally yourself with the chorus. Ally yourself with no one. Try to ally yourself with all of the locals. Choose to fight against the Overlord, or ally yourself with him, as I did, because that's how I chose Jason Pendragon to be. A loyal member, a loyal servant of the Overlord, and new Archon of Edicts? Archon of Edicts? Kind of makes some sense. Either way, that is the end of Tyranny. God, this went on for, what, 3 months? And now I need to find a new game to play. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to look through things and figure that out. And that'll come later on. And if you want to see it a little early, which you probably already missed that opportunity, just a reminder, I've been doing this on streams now. It started kind of in the middle of Tyranny. I probably should have started sooner, but yeah, there are people watching me right now. Hello, person who picked up and commented that yes, finally a game over 80 episodes. Has it been a bit since one of those? Honestly, I don't know. Anyway, come watch the streams if you want to see things happening as they happen, and continue watching my YouTube, I guess, since I'm going through this. Like, comment, subscribe, yada yada yada, all that bullshit. I don't normally say that, you know, I don't want to beg. It's just how I am. I'll figure out what I'm doing next, but that'll be in the next episode. So, until then, I'm Chester44. This has been a Let's Play of Tyranny. That has been the story of Jason Pendragon, and I shall see you all next time.